Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here at this SUNY Erie Board of Trustee meeting, Thursday, June 24th, 2021. May I ask our Madam Secretary to do the roll?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Todd Hobler.
Here.
Len Lenahan.
Here.
I am here. Carrie Phillips.
Here.
Jeff Stone. Here.
Susan Swartz.
Here.
Denise Wilson.
Here.
Travis Poling.
Here.
Travis. Okay, great. Have 100% attendance.
Awesome. I'd like a motion to call this meeting to order.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Well, the next item on the agenda is the committee of the whole meeting, or excuse me, items for approval, for board approval. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 1 through 8?
I'll move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
I vote yes.
Oh, thank you. Items 1 through 8 are approved. We have 8 items for board information. Additional 2021 fees authorized to be paid by SUNY Erie. 21-22 fees authorized to be paid by SUNY Erie for LEDA. Facility rentals and waivers, May 2021 report. Supplier report, LMHF financials for January, April, and April 2021. And budget to actual financial dashboard as of May 31st, 2021. As of June 1st, 2021. And human resources personnel transaction report. Are there any questions or further explanation for either of these items? Any of these items? Okay, so just so you know, again, to reiterate, the items that are before us, 1 through 8, as well as consent agenda items, were discussed thoroughly at the committee of the whole meeting, which took place 2 weeks ago, and therefore we may not have as many questions during the actual board meeting.
And I would also note that with respect to the budget to actual financial dashboard, that typically is covered during the interim president's report pretty thoroughly as well. Looking for that.
Thank you.
Updated.
Thank you, Vice Chair Stone. So we also have Board of Trustee items received outside of the committee of the whole meeting. There's 2 items for board approval. The Cisco wireless agreement, which you should have the executive summary and resolution on page 50, as well as the Northland sublease agreement, executive summary. Because these were received outside of the committee of the whole meeting, Bill, would you just go into them a little?
Certainly. As far as the Cisco wireless lease agreement, this actually probably looks familiar to the board. I discussed this with Jeff as part of my Tuesday afternoon call. Then we review the agenda. In January of 21, the Board of Trustees approved an installment purchase agreement. And there was a lot of discussion at the time. It was that 5-year, $308,000 per year, 0 interest installment purchase. When the board passed it, we sent it to the county, and the county began to take a review. The county attorney's office reviewed it. They brought in outside counsel who reviewed it, and they were under the opinion that we could not, the college and or the county could not enter into this type of arrangement. So we went back to the drawing board, and Scott Irmer was able to reach out to Cisco, and we essentially negotiated the same deal, but instead of an installment purchase, it's actually leasing the equipment. It's a 5-year lease, $308,000 per year. So this has been going on for many months, but we believe that the language in state law allows this type of installment purchase for K through 12 schools, but does not somehow provide for community colleges, which is, I think, should be added to the language of the state law, but for now, we have to comply with what's in writing. Scott, I'm not sure if you have anything else to say on this matter.
Thank you, Bill. So yes, the annual cost would remain the same since it is a lease agreement. We would have to return that equipment after the 5 years. There was a provision in the agreement that we could purchase the equipment outright at the conclusion of the lease. That payment would be no more than 5.89% or around $90,000. And we project that the equipment will still be viable for 3 to 4 years after the conclusion of that lease. So that's a very small dollar amount to continue using that equipment for an additional 3 to 4 years.
Will there be additional maintenance agreements and things of that nature after the lease is up?
Yeah, we'd still have to get regular annual maintenance on it. But the actual purchase of the equipment, the purchase of the licensing would all be covered already at that point.
Okay.
We were going to have to do that anyway, even after that. If we did the purchase contract, we would still have to incur those maintenance costs, year 6 and beyond as well.
Okay. Bill, you were saying?
We have budgeted this amount, Madam Chair. This is in our 21-22 budget. We factored it in.
This is really just in response to a gap in the law. As Bill said, there's no reason why a community college shouldn't be able to undertake an installment purchase contract instead of a lease, but it just doesn't. The basic legal concept for public entities in New York is you're only allowed to do what the statute explicitly says you can do, and that differs from the private sector where the rule is you can do whatever you want as long as it's not forbidden. So it's a different kind of presumption on the public side of things. So you have to go to the statute and take a look and say, do I see explicit authority to do this kind of a deal here in the law? And if you don't, you either have to change the law or you have to find another route. So they really should change this law because there's no reason to have us kind of go with the convoluted route here. But by having the county step in and be the leasing party, it works out.
Okay, thank you. So let's vote these two separately. If there's no further questions, may I have a motion to approve the Cisco wireless lease agreement?
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Okay, so for the second item for board approval is the Northland sublease agreement, Bill?
Yeah, I'm actually going to ask Dr. Sagai to give the board a little overview. I believe this is year 3 of a similar agreement, but Adiam, are you on the call?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Bill. Good morning, everyone. Just give everyone a brief where we are with the Northland initiative. I think we made a tremendous stride as to when we started back in fall 2018. Just to kind of give the board and the team a little bit of update as to where we are from a data perspective. Looking at 2018 to 2021, right now we have about 195 students enrolled in our mechatronic program. Our graduation rate is at 62%. Persistent rate fall to spring, we are at 84%. Retention rate fall to fall, 77%. Job placement, 80%, and if we want to break it down a little bit, just because one of the goal of the Northland initiative is really to create access to our underrepresented population. So female population, we're at 16%, Student of color at 71%, age 25 and over 64%. That is shifting a little bit as Northland is doing a lot of work with Buffalo, the Buffalo district, and bringing a lot of the young high school students into that. So we're seeing a shift in terms of that age. So I think we're seeing a little bit younger student participating in our program. Graduation rate by the demographic, 14% are our female population and 61% are our underrepresented population. So I think comparatively to our overall college, I think we're doing really well in terms of that. So because of that, and because we have built, any questions on that before I go on to the next initiative that we're doing at Northland?
No, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Those are good numbers.
I think so. I think so. Something very the college to be really proud of. Certainly am. The second initiative that we're doing at Northland, part of it is because of our outcome. We have our new program, our mechanical engineering. We are going to be offering that. That's a 2-year program. We are starting that, and that's part of. I think it's in the package. Earn while you learn concept. It's a new concept similar to the to apprenticeship model, not quite, but similar to that, where our students will be working in the field as well as going to school. So what we did is that we customized the schedule. It is in the 7.5 format, similar to the mechatronic. And our goal here was that our students will be working in related field. They are being sponsored by a company that Northland and SUNY Erie is partnering with, so that the students are going to be working in the field as well as attending our classes full time. And so we really worked hard to make sure that our schedule. So right now we have about 50% of our goal met for the mechanical program, and about 50% sponsored by the companies and industry. So again, very excited about that opportunity for our students as well as for the college. I'm not sure if people have been seeing the marketing effort that Northland has been putting. So if you driving on Main Street, you see our students on the billboard and other things. So I was very excited to see that. So that's our new effort. We do have other initiatives that we're working on. Hopefully our goal is to bring our CNC back into Northland perhaps in the spring of 2022. So we really are working to go back in and have more of our program offered at Northland. So we have an awesome, it was a rough start, but certainly we have a wonderful partnership. We are working together. I think a testament of that is that we were featured on the urban manufacturing publication. We were one of the industry and school partner as part of the best practice. So we were part of that discussion, and we were able to present all the best practices that we're doing in collaboration with the Northland team.
Thank you, Dr. Sakai. Just really excited about the work that's happening at Northland, and thank you for the work that you and your team are doing and with that program. And I look forward to hearing more numbers, especially for those that 18 to 20 population. See how they go.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're projecting about 100 students for the fall, and we're close to, like I said, about around 50% of our new goal. So, and continue as well. So we're very excited to really grow our presence at Northland. So more to come.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Adium on that front, I haven't talked about this with any of the other trustees, but I had the privilege of going over to Northland and really touring that facility. It was before I became a trustee, and it was really, really impressive. And I am thinking that what we should do as we come out of COVID here, if we can manage it, and subject to all protocols and safety and so forth, is see if we can have an in-person board meeting over at Northland sometime in the next few months to be worked out. Because I think it'd be great if we could all go over there from Stephen Tucker and get a tour and build that around a board meeting. So just, not a formal proposal today. I'm just offering that for my fellow
Sure.
trustees to think about and see if we can engineer that.
Thanks. Jeff will definitely look into that. Okay, so
Chair, if I could just make a couple of comments. The actual agreement that the board is approving is similar to prior agreements. Dr. Sagai, myself, and Stephen Tucker have had discussions. We're going to try to change the agreement for next year and do it on a rental basis versus a net tuition basis, because we do get some state aid based upon rental costs. So we're able to flip the agreement, having a different structure. We possibly can bring back more state dollars to the college. So that has to be part of our submission to SUNY, before the budget even starts. So we are working on that, and it's a true partnership. I mean, Dr. Sagai and the staff have done a great job. The provost rebuilding that, but it's also Stephen Tucker is a believer of SUNY Erie, and we both support each other. So it's been a win-win for us.
awesome. Thank you. So may I have a motion? Am I echoing?
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Sorry, I think I just had a little internet hiccup. Sorry. Okay. So for board information, we have 3 items: the Erie County Executive ECC 2021-2022 transmittal letter, 21-22 fees authorized to be paid by SUNY Erie for workforce development, executive summary and backup, and interim president report from May 27th board meeting. Are there any questions? All right, we'll file those for board information. Next up, Policy and Governance Committee Chair Maciel.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Before you is the policy on policy development. And as you recall, last month we talked about how we wanted to encourage folks to, all stakeholders, to submit policies to the Policy and Governance Committee. And this policy on policy development will help them by providing some guardrails on what the expectations are when somebody is submitting a policy for the committee's review. So what this does is really provide a framework for policy creation, encouraging consistency throughout the college. It has definitions on what a policy is versus a procedure, why we are using these terms separately, and how, distinctly, and why it's important for everybody to understand the differences between policy, procedure, guidelines. It talks about how when a policy is approved by the board, it needs to be communicated with all the units in the college, including providing training, if necessary, for folks to be able to comply with a policy. It charges the Policy and Governance Committee to annually review the policies that have been approved, and that we will provide the Board of Trustees with an annual review of the work of the Policy Committee, including all board policies over the last 12 months, all managerial policies that had been accepted by the board over the past 12 months, any that were rescinded, and then the docket that the Policy Committee is working on, so that the board is fully informed of the Policy Committee's work, and those people who are interested in submitting policies understand, what is expected and what the terminology is that we use and how we anticipate being able to move their ideas forward. So does anybody have any questions about this? I'd like to thank the members of the Policy Committee for digging deep on this. This is, it's sometimes tedious work, but I think what we're doing here is setting clear expectations for folks, and that's always good. So,
Okay, I'll move it.
Absolutely.
thank you. Then
Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor of the policy and development?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, Kate, and everyone who do great work through that committee. It is a standalone committee, not a part of the committee of the whole, which speaks to the importance of, not that all of them aren't important, but the policy is very important. So thank you. We have, oh, I'm sorry, Kate, that's you still.
Well, it's just the minutes are provided to the board of the last policy committee meeting for its information.
Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So as for my report, I will keep it relatively short because I want to spend a little time with talking about the presidential search with the co-chair, Linehan. It has been just a lot of interesting and exciting things happening with the college. And I know the president's going to talk a lot about that in his report. As well, again, participating in the budget conversations that we had, and some other conversations that we are in as far as the progress of the college. I just continue to be involved in, those types of things. I want to thank everyone for their work that they have done, we're just working really hard on navigating some of the challenging times that we've had. So I just want to thank you for that. As far as the presidential search, you are all aware that the board had decided to extend the search for the permanent president. The search committee, we are expecting to convene late August to mid-September. We don't have a definite timeline for a new president. Like, we are not saying it has to be a drop dead time for someone to come in. We are going to go through the process and find the right fit for our college, and that may take some time. But over these next few months, you will see more information that comes out regarding the search and the search timeline. If you have any questions regarding the search, please feel free to contact Lynn or I, and we will definitely answer any of your questions. I don't know, Lynn, do you have anything else to add?
Just that the search actually, even though we're not going to do a lot of stuff publicly until late summer, early fall, Denise and I will be on a call this afternoon with the ABG principals, Fred and Kim, to talk about just to set up the structure of the search, and certainly get them involved. They will be doing work over the summer, determining areas where we can find candidates and what their recommendations are going to be for this second phase of the search. So they have been very good about continuing to work with us, obviously, because we had to extend the search, but we're going to kick all that off this afternoon at 4:00 with AGB. So that's pretty much, I think Denise has covered it pretty well.
Thank you.
And speaking of Denise covering it pretty well, I would like to reiterate one thing that Denise said, and I think I read it in the Buffalo News, but I know this has been her opinion and statement about this. I think for the college community, the best way to think about what mode this search is in right now is to focus on the fact that the Board of Trustees was expecting to have a robust debate among the trustees about at least 2 and hopefully 3 or possibly 4 viable finalists. And as we all know, we had, by the time it got to the trustees, we had 1 finalist. So I wouldn't say that the right conclusion is to say we found any problem with that 1 finalist, but I think we did find, and I believe I speak for all the trustees, a sense that having 1 candidate in front of us when it came to the trustees was not where we expected the process to be. So I think that was, as much as anything, the reason for extending the search. So, a few people, frankly, have said, what does this mean for Dr. Young and so forth? Denise was quoted on that. No one has rejected Dr. Young at all. I think what we have said, though, is that we would like this to wind up where we have multiple candidates in front of the Board of Trustees, so we can make a selection from among more than just the 1 candidate. So that's how I see it. I don't know if any other trustees want to express a different view or challenge anything I said, but that's how I see where we are, and I'm very comfortable with the decision the board made.
No, thank you. Thank you. I also want to add to this last part. Bill, the interim president, was extended by SUNY board vote yesterday for another 6 months until December. Well, it's a little bit, but until December of 2021. So one thing that is very important is that we have consistency in our leadership, and we are thankful that Bill is willing to continue with us in this capacity. So thank you. Okay. So we have the student trustee report. Trustee Travis Poling.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Bill, for staying on and doing all the work that you're doing here. Because I know every day that we don't have a president on board is a day that the students may or may not suffer. So we appreciate all the work that you do. I'll keep it quick. As everyone knows, the Student Government Association, we have new officers, and starting this next week, we actually are doing our retreat. So all the new officers are going to be meeting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and basically setting up the next year's events of student engagement events. So we're going to learn a little bit more about the role for all the new officers that haven't been a part, that are not returning, and we're going to sit down and meet everyone. So I know all the students are excited. We have a lot of new officers who are very excited to be involved with the school and being very involved with all the feedback that we're able to give that student perspective. So I know I said it before, but I'll say it again. Anytime there's any committees that are available, please let me know. I'll have myself or a student from the student government at a committee so we can get student feedback. I think it's more important than ever that we have that voice, and we're utilizing the people that we have here for student leaders. So anytime there's an opportunity, please let me know. I've set up a group me, which is kind of just a little chat room with all the officers so that we're communicating more on a daily basis, and we want to be involved. We want to make sure that we're creating an environment here at SUNY Erie that students want to be here and they feel like their voices are heard. So any opportunities, please let us know. As far as anything else, I don't necessarily have anything else to report at the time, but I just want to make sure that's known. And I know the students are excited for this next year. Hopefully we can get out of the hybrid modality when everything's said and done. And we're excited to continue our education and look forward to the future. So thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could just echo a comment that Travis just made. He's been participating in a lot of committees him personally. Last Friday, he had a conflict and was not able to attend our weekly recruitment meeting, but he had a member of SGA participate, and she was not a shrinking violet, but it was, she provided some great insights from a student perspective and offered a lot for us to think about as far as recruitment and advertising and connections. And so, Travis, what you said, she was great. She was great. So I appreciate you having somebody fill in for you, and the more student participation we can get in the work we do at ECC, it makes us do a better job. So thank you.
Thank you, Travis. I believe having a student-led, student-centered approach is the best way. We are an institution for the students, and without them, we will not exist. So, thank you so much for your work and also bringing in other voices. The College Senate report.
Colleen
Dr.
is on
Cormier?
the phone. Colleen's on the phone. She's actually driving to vacation to the Adirondacks, but she said she would call in. So I believe she's on.
I am here.
Hi.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, I can't see all of your lovely faces, but that is true. I'm in the car with my 4 boys and my husband, and we are driving to the Adirondacks to go camping for the week. So, but I wanted to make sure that I called in because the College Senate has been very busy since school's been out. And one of the things that we've been the most busy with is Starfish. So as everyone knows, we have a Starfish task force that is made up of senators and faculty members, as well as a few senior executive staff members. We, the faculty, have been doing cost analysis with different documents and things like that we have been given. And I've shared some of this with Interim President Reuter, but essentially what we have found is that there is a potential between July 2021 to June 2023, which is the EAB global contract of $131,000. The IT development and transition is going to be 6,480 project hours. And with that, we only have 28 hours per week of dedicated support staff. And the administrative and AVP costs are unknown. We had a presentation with the folks from Starfish last week, and they found that we do bulk clearing of flags. We bulk cleared 127,000 flags, and 95% of our flags are bulk cleared in the past 6 years.
What does that mean?
Our average response time
Colleen,
to resolving, yes.
sorry. Trustee Vaciello just asked a question. She said, what does that
I didn't hear.
So the bulk clearing, does that mean we're just going through and clearing them, or we are going through each case and clearing them properly?
They're not being cleared properly, no.
Well, what is that?
At the end of the semester, they're being bulk cleared. 95% have been bulk cleared in the last 6 years. And this is data that we've received from Starfish. This is not our data. Our Starfish presentation flat out told us that the data that was supplied by our IRAP team was not usable and inaccurate. The average response time to resolving flags that are outside of the bulk clearing is 67 to 105 days on average. And that procedure ends up having students advised inappropriately to drop courses, appropriate responses are not including academic success plans, and there's inconsistent practice on when and how we resolve a flag. For example, who should respond to the flag? And again, we only have one dedicated staff member that works specifically for Starfish, and they are part-time. We do have counselors that also help, but also they are not fully dedicated. Their job is not fully dedicated to be working on Starfish. So we don't have a team in place. What the College Senate is going to be recommending is that we would like a workflow or defined response strategy to the flags. We're going to need faculty outreach with marketing and visibility. We're going to need the same thing with student outreach, marketing, and visibility. The institutional reporting of data. So the Starfish EAB vendor, again, was unable to build predictive analysis models because of the poor data quality reported by ECC. We have found a little bit more than 10 different unavailable or underutilized features, Starfish, such as appointments, identity of at-risk students through predictive modeling, texting features, automated outreach, automated raising of flag, faculty appointment features, manual flag usage, progress survey participation, attendance features, kiosks, and academic success plan. We have been able to identify features available in the new LMS, such as attendance and retention features. But again, it's unclear what and how that is going to connect with Workday and other existing software that we use. And that's things like Microsoft Forms, Microsoft Teams, Signalvine, which is our texting feature. And we have a list of recommendations. We need to immediately convene. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Colleen, this is Todd. Hope you and your family have a great vacation. I just on the the report. The question is for those students who were flagged and did not get a timely counseling or contact. Do we have any sense of how many of those people left the college? Just in terms of what is this meant in terms of retention?
That is one of the things that the Starfish Senate Task Force is recommending, because we do not have that data. And if we have that data, it has not been supplied to the Starfish Task Force by the IRAP office. And the Starfish folks also, based on our data that we gave them, were also unable to answer that question for us. I know this is a lot. Sorry, guys. I wish I could see your faces to pick up on questions and things. I did forward this full report to Bill, and he's happy to share it. I can forward it to Kelly as well. But we have, amongst our list of recommendations, is to immediately include faculty and work group meetings transitioning Starfish to Workday. Again, Starfish was picked without any faculty input, as was, of course, Workday. We need access to total institutional costs to integrate in Starfish with Workday. A lot of costs are hidden, and they're hidden in billable hours without actual costs attached to those hours. And we need defined roles in Starfish: who responds to flags, referrals, it's done much differently in other schools. And Triple C, for example, has 3 to 4 full-time employees dedicated to just Starfish. And again, we have 1 part-time employee who's dedicated to Starfish. A few other things is we need to identify redundancy, which we have found several things such as attendance and retention tools in other software programs that we are already paying for. And we're hoping for a possible relaunch of Starfish if we are to continue with it over the next 2 years. And that is my Senate report. I know it's a lot again, and I appreciate everyone for allowing me to call in with this staggering information. This is something we've been working on for the last 6 weeks. We had 2 meetings yesterday, back to back, preparing this report for you all today. Our faculty team that has been doing this work is just amazing, and I wouldn't be able to do my job if it wasn't for all of them. And give them a shout out real quick: Michael Rio, Dave Uzinski, Kathy Colesto, Erica Hendra, Jason Steinitz, and Patty Kaiser. And from the list of names, there's Senate and there's union representation on there. Andy Sacco fully supports this report as well.
Thank you, Colleen, and the team for that report. You said you wish you were here to see our faces. I'm not sure if if you really want that. My first question: how much is Starfish? How much do we pay per year, or what's the contract amount?
That's a great question, Madam Chairwoman. We don't have that information. We don't have it anywhere. We can't find it. And again, there's hidden costs with billable hours and things like that we don't know how much that costs either.
Oh.
And Chairwoman, the cost of the Starfish software is $65,000 a year, including all consulting hours. That does not, let's say, have any internal hours of staff or for productivity time. We don't assess it that way, but we do have a single 19-hour employee, approximate cost of $15,000 to $20,000 a year. So if you want to add that cost on, it's a total of approximately $85,000, including staffing. If you wanted to add additional costs from other staff who participate in using the software, we could try to figure that out. But obviously that involves several hundred people, faculty, as well as staff. We don't assess the software that way. It's $65,000 a year for the license, including all consulting hours. There are no other billable hours, and that cost absolutely none, ever, zero. That's the max cost that we pay to the vendor, EAB. And that's the cost. So I'm not sure what else is being discussed. Obviously, that cost was passed over in the contract that went to the board and is making its way to the county. So we've been, pretty open about the overall cost of the software. And that has been fairly steady over the several years that we've had it.
If I could respond. We've received some documents and spreadsheets. I also shared those with Bill, Interim President Reuter, and we found anywhere between $100,000 and $500,000 in additional costs based on billable hours. Some of it is with the actual integration of Starfish with Workday. And again, some of the things that Workday does and things that we're implementing, such as an intake survey for our inbound students, is something that Starfish and both Workday do. And so these are some of the costs that we have found. And Starfish is not assessed in any manner, which is, of course, not the best thing if we're spending lots of money on software that we've had for over 5 years.
So, okay. I am wondering, I'm trying to form my questions, but I believe that my brain is trying to get me to a starting place in this. I'm thinking about the reports that we've gotten in the past about Starfish, utilization, things of that nature. Is it worth it? Were some of the questions I remember being asked over, or I've asked over the years. This report, or I guess it's a report that was done by the Starfish team, is definitely an issue. And I think we need to have a deeper dive discussion specifically on Starfish, specifically on the fact that, our data is not good.
I would certainly dispute that, Madam Chairwoman, if you don't mind, if I could respond to the data concern.
Just before you do, Fabio, I just want to make sure. Let me get this straight. Just from Colleen. Colleen, you said that Starfish said that our data was not good enough to accurate. Okay, so I'm sorry.
That's correct. And we had 12 people in on that meeting. It was recorded, and I also have PowerPoint slides from the Starfish folks that say that in the actual slides verbatim.
Okay, Fabio.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't agree with that characterization, but we'd be happy to obviously do that deeper dive. I think that actually what I was told is by the vendor was that there was something preventing analysis of persistence and retention values in the data. We believe that what is going on there is that we wipe out all of our previous term data from the system, and that's why the vendor was not able to figure out persistence and retention, since those are cross-term values. They're not within a term. And that's been standard practice for us for 5-6 years of the implementation. We only pass over one term at a time, which would make it impossible for the vendor to figure out whether a student had persisted or was retained over time. We don't do that with Starfish, and we don't give that data to Hobson's because of the way that we've implemented it internally. So we have in the past passed along persistence and retention analyses. We obviously have that information, and we'd be happy to pass it along again. We have done that both in the context of the contract and at ad hoc meetings with the board, and we'd be happy to go down that road and analyze the software once again with you. The implementation vis-a-vis Workday is complex, obviously. Any integration of a system like that is going to be complex. I don't have any insight into ITS costs in terms of the software or the integration costs. That's not something that I manage. But certainly from the standpoint of building a system that will work well with Workday, that's necessary work. We have to integrate Starfish with any student information system that the college has, and so that was not a cost that we could avoid, regardless of the integration.
Can I ask another maybe basic question that might have already been covered, but I just want to be for clarity purpose. I take it that Colleen's report is, in large measure, sort of suggesting significant problems with Starfish. The other part of this that I just want to get clarity on, is it less the software than how it's being used? The questions we've had over the years about whether or not the flags are actually getting, that the students are getting attended to. And from what I heard in the report, that's not happening. Is that a problem with the software or the people who are using the software? I guess that's the question, as basic as I can get it.
That is correct. And it's not necessarily the people using. It's just that we don't have a system. There's not a workflow that is clear. We have one part-time employee that's dedicated to this, and it sits in our IRAP office. It should be in a retention enrollment scenario. That should be where it is. And a lot of the bells and whistles are fantastic, but again, the version of the program that we pay for doesn't have a lot of those bells and whistles. And, you know, it could be a great program, but right now we just don't have the manpower or a champion of who is in charge of this software program. And regarding the data that was shared with Hobson, the direct quote was that the data was lacking precision, is what Hobson said, end quote.
Madam Chair, this obviously is a very important discussion. Colleen mentioned that she provided a lot of this information to me. Yesterday at 11:33, I got a text message from her, and I called her immediately, and we started the discussion. I brought Scott Irmer into the loop as far as the integration. This requires, the term deeper dive has been used a couple times. When Colleen gets back after her glorious week of camping, we will have a meeting. She'll bring her task force, and I'll bring ITS and Fabio, and we will convene and really start looking at Starfish, the usage, the resources that are needed. Is it a system that we want to continue to invest in? Do we want to move forward with something else? So there's a lot of questions to be answered. What troubled me was when Colleen said it's sometimes good to be the leader in the state, but when we're the leader in the state as far as the number of flags that are cleared through the bulk process, that's not a good thing. And to have the highest days on average for a flag to be cleared, that's also not a good thing to be the leader in the pack. So we have some serious issues. Obviously, there's Fabio has a different point of context on this, so we need to bring all parties together and really spend some focused time on this, because this is critical. This is one of the basic tenets of our whole persistence and retention. If we're not using the system, why bother? So we will get that together. I will ask Colleen to identify a day where we can spend a few hours in person, not this virtual stuff, that we can spend and start sorting through this. So we will certainly keep the Board of Trustees informed, and I would certainly ask our student trustee if he would be like to be part of that group, and or if he could offer another SGA representative that would be part of that group too, because we certainly need the students' perspective.
Can I just add that Starfish is a system, it's a way to go about this. We need to fundamentally ask, why would we be getting rid of data for students? It's not semester to semester, it's the student's career path with us. This just boggles my mind, and I'm anxious to get into a deeper audit of what's going on.
My faculty team has already texted me over the call and said they are ready, willing, and able, and we're just going to pick a day, and I will let you know, and we'll get the show on the road and do a deeper dive.
Thank you.
Thanks, Colleen. And
Thank you.
similar to the students being involved, you are seeing board members. The faculty is getting very involved in the college business, not just because they're want to throw put fly in the ointment, but to better the college. So I appreciate it. They've been very involved in the enrollment meetings every Friday, the late start classes that we've started, and obviously the Starfish retention that they're looking at, and they're also going to create a subcommittee of the Senate looking at enrollment. So they are very involved in how to improve what we do at SUNY Erie.
Absolutely, and we appreciate the opportunity to do that. You know, we love ECC. Many of us have been here 20 plus years, and we want to stay here and keep the school relevant and running efficiently. So we got skin in the game too, and we're happy to help in any way we can. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll look forward to hearing an update through the committee of the whole meeting at minimal. And I know this is not going to change overnight, but let's put that as an agenda item for that meeting specifically. Okay. For the bargaining unit report, FECC report, President Andy Sacco. It's good to see you, Andy.
Good morning, Denise. Thank you. It's good to see you, and it's good to see all the board members. As many of you know, I've been in and out of town with some personal family issues, and things are getting better. So as of today, anyway, it's day to day. So I was in town last week, and we had and I just wanted to report on our executive council meeting that I had, and many of the issues that we had talked about as practitioners. We spoke about the facilities, and we spoke particularly about enrollment and retention. And I'm glad to hear that Colleen and that group has been working and trying to improve the issues dealing with Starfish and how we interact with our students and interact with their problems. One of the things that there's a perception out there that there's a lack of a comprehensive recruiting and marketing plan to attract non-traditional students. And I'm saying that because, and this isn't a knock on anything we're trying to do. We are trying to work with Bill. We are trying to work with the people internally. But I'm relating this because many of my members believe that we need to expand distance learning. We need to have late start semesters. We need to work on the 7-week semesters, and Bill's been a proponent of that, of course. But there's a lot of frustration, especially when publicly there's been a discussion of a downsizing of a campus. And I understand fully the financial issues that we're faced with. And I also understand that we have been given a bridge to work with from the federal government. Our past presidents have, quite honestly, mismanaged the college. The state and county has really not fully met its statutory commitment, as we all know. But a public discussion of a campus closure, in my mind, is going to hurt enrollment. And I believe that that's also, and maybe it's premature for me to say this, but we're going to have discussions about this, and I know Bill's aware of that, and I know we will have discussions. But I want to go back to the enrollment. Enrollment cures much of our issues.
Andy,
I
you
think
froze
that we're
after
missing the
enrollment.
boat.
Andy, you had
And we
frozen
really
after
don't have
enrollment.
someone.
Andy,
I think
you're
I'm
freezing.
sorry.
That
After enrollment.
most of our ills.
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm saying is enrollment.
Andy, if you can hear me, you may want to turn your camera off completely.
It sounds to me like Andy has this written down. Perhaps he could supply it to us, in writing. Sounds like he's reading some notes that maybe he could supply to us.
Absolutely. Okay.
I have a question, if that's okay. So when we were looking at enrollment, are we looking at like reports of job growth in the communities in our community? Because someone sent this to me the other day, for instance, that in the next 5 years they're looking to increase nurses by 1 million jobs. So when I saw something like that, I'm just thinking like, okay, well, why isn't our nursing program bigger than it is? I mean, do we have enough? I mean, are we able to offer more students spots into the nursing program? And I actually had this conversation with Dr. Lucido yesterday, and she said that maybe there was about 60 students per class is what we're able to do with the amount of teachers that we have right now. But if, for instance, Buffalo is building their medical campus and we have all these hospitals and we're infusing all these jobs into the community, why isn't ECC bigger with the nursing program than it is? Just for an example, I don't know. I guess I'm not part of these conversations. I don't know all the information, but
no, I think that's a good point. Bill, you want to take it as far as nursing
Absolutely.
specifically?
And Travis, you're spot on, and Dr. Lucido is too. We cannot attract nursing faculty at the starting salary that is in the faculty contract. We pay every faculty member the same amount. We have actually 120 seats available at North Campus. That's that class seats in the fall, and 90 seats in the spring at City Campus. So we have 210 slots, and we cannot fill all those slots because we do not have enough faculty. COVID caused some issues with some of the clinicals, but the bottom line is if we had more faculty in that program, we would be able to offer more seats. And there is a demand in that field, and there's a long list of students waiting to get in our nursing. And it's also a program where many of our students will go to another community college because they can't get into our program. So it's a enrollment loss for Erie, and it's an enrollment gain for other community colleges, and that means also chargebacks are paid by Erie County to those other community colleges. So it's a very difficult problem that we're facing.
I mean, so is that something that I don't know?
You are absolutely, you are absolutely right. Our programs have to be aligned with the workforce and the workforce needs, and I know that's one thing Dr. Sagai is working on within the Northland program and other and such. And I know that's why we've also talked about reviewing our curriculum as on a trustee level, which is one of our duties, to make sure that our curriculum is relevant to what our community needs and what our students are looking for. So this is work that we will, hate to use that again, we will take it a deeper dive in the very near future. But Andy, are you still, did you find your way back? Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm sorry. There's
okay.
something with my router that's a problem. I don't know why it's causing this, but what I was getting at, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to finish what I had to say. I think enrollment cures all, and I think you're absolutely right. When we take a look at our faculty are ready to help, and that's the thing that I'm trying to get across to everybody. That we're willing to help, we're willing to look at non-traditional areas, and we're willing to look at the faith-based community and many other areas that we just have not tapped into. And I think if we start doing that, then the conversations can be about improving curriculum and getting the appropriate programs and the appropriate number of people there in order to provide the services. So thank you for the opportunity, and sorry about the glitch on my router.
I know Phil is not here. I just want to respond to Andy, and I think we heard that very clear. We had a meeting with Patty Kaiser as well as David to talk about exactly what you just said, Andy, is to how do we start talking about the non-tradition population. So we have a subcommittee within the enrollment recruitment committee that is focusing on that. So we have a list through our pathway program, a list of all of the organizations that SUNY Erie already have a relationship with. We also have some data from Denise Raymond, who is the One Stop Center, who also has a relationship with the organization, nonprofit organization that she's working with. So we have a basis that we're using to work from, but we certainly, one of the things that we asked Patty and her team to do is go back to the faculty and ask them all the nonprofit organization they've been working with. Because one of the things I think we have to really acknowledge is that our college has been participating in a lot of initiative. And so one of the goals within the enrollment side of the house is that we want to gather all the information, all the relationship that we have, and try to centralize that and be very deliberate our strategy in terms of working with those groups. So the faculty is on, myself and Phil, and we're going to bring others in that piece of initiative. But we acknowledge that that's a big piece, and one of them, as you mentioned, Andy, the faith-based organizations. So we are going to reach out to those, but right now we're just gathering everything so that we are really working smart about all the relationships that we have already, and then building from that. So very much acknowledge, and we are definitely working on that.
Okay.
Sorry. Next, we have the report of the interim president.
Thank you, and hopefully this will be our last virtual meeting, so we won't have all these glitches. So I expect our August meeting to be in person. Let me just go over, good segue from Andy, enrollment. Bob, if you could pull up fall enrollment. We are starting to track fall enrollment, and we are behind, like we've always been, but behind both 2020 as well as 2019. We had budgeted to be down 10%. We are right now tracking 7% down on headcount and 8% down on FTEs from last year. 2 years ago, it's 16% and 19% down, respectively. So we have a lot of work to do as far as our fall enrollment. Again, we're just starting to track this on a weekly basis. We start classes after Labor Day, so we are trying to identify how many student enrollments we need each week to get back to flat enrollment from last year. So we are working on that. Summer enrollment, summer 2 starts July 6th. Bob, if you can bring up summer. We are tracking still above last summer, which is a very positive. We're up 9.69% on FTE, and we are up on headcount 7%. We are down from 2 years ago, but at least year to year, we're looking strong. I mentioned there's some interesting trends developing. The number of Black, African American, and Hispanic students is up almost 6% from summer of 2019, which is incredible and very positive. We're seeing our number of high school students increasing significantly, and that's thanks to a lot of efforts we are concentrating with our high school students. And then we are also seeing, the campus is really falling off, but city campus enrollment is actually increasing when all the other campus locations are decreasing. So some real, very interesting trends are developing. We are making a late push for get more enrollment for summer 2. I will segue into some of the recruitment activities that we're helping to assist in our enrollment for both summer 2 as well as fall. And Phil Struble has a family medical situation with his daughter, so he's not able to be here, but he gave me some information to talk about. Advisement Days, which are also called Chair Days. We have 3 scheduled for 1 in July and 2 in August. We will actually be a physical presence. The faculty will be in the cafeterias. All the enrollment staff will be there to support. And the county is actually going to host some pop-up clinics as part of the Chair Days, as well as open registration that happens before school starts. And they're going to be dispensing both the Pfizer vaccine and J&J vaccine. And it's only going to be for ECC and ECC students. So that's a good thing. We have our final virtual visit day yesterday, June 23rd. We are working on getting back into some of the festivals and fairs that are going on. So we're looking at Old Home Days. We're looking at Erie County Fair. Adi Sagai and the faculty at the Vehicle Tech Training Center are looking into bringing back cruise nights, which we had several years ago. We are working very hard working with all the chambers of commerces in the area. They are certainly have a lot of members that have opportunities for our students. We are working with Lindy and Push Buffalo for our green building and HVAC programs. The counselors are looking at opportunities for, now that the K through 12 schools are ending their classes, we can transition those students into our summer 2. We are initiating a stop out campaign for any student that's been out of ECC for more than one term. We are going to be doing a push in July trying to get them back. It was mentioned about the committee that's working with the faculty on looking at recruitment task force. Katrina is having a opportunity program, the Students of Color workshops each and every week, and we are enrolling almost two or three students each and every time that meets. Adi and Sagai, as part of Phil's group, is working to mine advanced studies with Buffalo Public Schools. We have a good program with math, and we are now looking at engaging English faculty to participate in a specific BPS request. And then I know it's been mentioned quite a few times, orientation. As of yesterday, Phil gave me a recap indicating that the video is about 75% complete. We are looking for a mid-August launch. The workaround right now for that is that we revamped the online orientation that had some issues, but it's been revamped and it's being delivered to all students via Blackboard. And Andy and Nessie will host several live Q&A sessions over the summer. And we are hoping to get an outreach plan to all the new students for the orientation by mid-August. And then finally, as far as enrollment, we mentioned previously we had launched that partnership with Buffalo State to get their non-admits, and we actually have had 10 students that were not admitted at Buffalo State that were referred to SUNY Erie, and we've admitted those students, so we're building upon that partnership. Hopefully, the August President's Report, we won't have to have this next topic, COVID-19 updates, ever again. But we continue to do our pool testing for the summer, 874 pool tests. It's mandatory for any student or staff member that has not been vaccinated. And we have 0 positives to date, which is outstanding. SUNY had a board meeting last night. They have a meeting tonight at 5 p.m. that will talk about some of the changes. But as of right now, mask wearing, 6-foot distancing is still in place. The governor announced the end of the state of emergency that expired today, and the county executive is evaluating it. We did disband all our checkpoints, but we are also asking students and staff to continue to use the Campus Clear app, and SUNY is saying that we'll have additional guidance sometime in the next few weeks as far as the mandated vaccines for students attending in the fall and what exemptions they may be able to provide. So a lot still going on, but I think things are looking much more positive than weeks and months ago. The county's closed the pods at both North and South Campus. They are having some pop-ups and mobile units at North Campus, and they are using the old DMV space at South Campus for providing some vaccinations, but it's not every day. It's just on a once-a-week basis. As far as some of the college updates, we were notified by our Middle States liaison that the chair of the visit, Dr. Anthony Monroe from CUNY, has stepped down. So they are looking at an alternative for the chair of the valuation team. They offered 2 names and asked if we had any conflicts with those 2 individuals, which we said we did not. So they're looking to see what kind of schedule this may change with one of these individuals leading the team. I want to give a shout out to our Todd Hobler for actually 2 things. One is he last Thursday at the Community Enrichment Committee, his approval for an extension of his term as a trustee was approved unanimously at Community Enrichment Committee, and it will be on the full agenda for the legislature today. So thank you, Todd. But from a enrollment perspective, Todd innocently mentioned about the union. He's an official with 1199 and some training funds that his union has, and offered a point of contact. And Doug Adium and myself have met with Don Fiorelli twice on creating some micro-credentialing programs as well as our existing degree and certificate programs. And we have a follow-up meeting with Don and staff on June 30th. So, Todd, thank you very much for that connection. It's going to pay dividends for both 1199 as well as SUNY Erie as well as the community. We had a 2-day accreditation visit for our radiation therapy technology department, and all 51 objectives in the 6 standards were met, and actually 10 of the 51 were identified as strengths. So I just want to give a shout out to Department Head Gene Wood, who runs a fabulous program. It's a very small program, but very high demand. We participated in a charter school for applied technology launch. The partnership was announced between Charter School for Applied Technology, SUNY Erie, and Buffalo State College for advanced studies, and we were there earlier this month. I have always presented at the College Senate, provided updates. I had a meeting with JMZ on a facility master plan, and we'll be working to finalize the recommendations coming out of that facility master plan over the next couple of months. Thanks to Dr. Sagai and the Vehicle Tech Training Center faculty who have been fantastic in launching new initiatives. They have a co-op program with Westher at the Vehicle Tech Training Center, and we were approached by Northtown Automotive Group that they wanted to do something similar. When we costed out what it would, what a addition to Vehicle Tech Training Center would cost us, it was approximately $10 million. Well, lo and behold, our meeting came to the conclusion that we are going to launch a similar program right on site at a Northtown dealership. So we don't need to spend money on building a building. So we are working on an MOU, and we're hoping to launch a cohort, possibly even this fall, right at the Northtown dealership on Sheridan Drive. I participated in the business officers semi-annual meeting. The chancellor gave some remarks, was very well received. He's a very good speaker, believes in community colleges. I had the opportunity to be interviewed by Mike Desmond from WBFO, talking about the employee needs of the region and what ECC is doing to address those employee needs. And I got a report from Katie Marshall to prep for the meeting that the number of job openings on our career resource site has doubled since last year. So there's lots of jobs for our students. Our law enforcement academy had an actual in-person graduation last Friday. Jim Barrell from our respiratory care program received a accreditation award letter. His department was recognized for its success, and Jim runs a great program at North Campus. We had our GOC meeting, Grants Operation Committee, earlier this week. We talked about all the grants, talked about making sure that when we're applying for grants, that we're not staffing those grants, and then at the end of the grant, we're left with those employees providing a service, but there's no funds to support. And we also spent a lot of time on our Perkins application. The allocation from Perkins is up from, I think, $799,000 last year to $921,000. So we're trying to shift as much of that Perkins to one-time expenses, so we're not adding additional staff that at the end of the Perkins that we need to then backfill to the college. I participated in Amherst Chamber of Commerce board meeting yesterday. I'm on their equity and diversity task force, and we have a meeting next week. And I was approached about the college hosting a hackathon that would be sponsored by the Amherst Chamber of Commerce sometime this fall. They would like to use the STEM building. So that is very exciting that we are part of that community. And then athletics, we are starting, I mentioned football back up, and we have actually spoken to 61 student athletes, 18 of which have registered, but of the 61, 50 are from New York State and 34 are from Erie, Niagara County. So we're making sure that we have that local connection for our football team and provide that local opportunity. I participate in the foundation board meetings each time they are held. We had the foundation board meeting June 10th, gave college updates. As far as county, and I'm just going real quick, county executive, I have my ongoing monthly meetings. I certainly thanked him multiple times for his additional support. We had a meeting following our last board meeting, and he just had a press event, and our very own trustee, Susan Swartz' husband, was sort of the MC because it was hosted at the Botanical Gardens, and the county executive made mention once again about providing the additional subsidy as well as funds for a capital project here at City Campus. Next time you're at City Campus, you will see we still have scaffolding that surrounds our campus because we need roof work and skylight work, so he is committed to getting that done. And then tonight I will be attending the public hearing regarding the ECC budget. The way the budget process works, the Board of Trustees approved it May 27th. The county executive transmitted that budget with approving it to the county legislature. Last Thursday, myself, Chairwoman Wilson, Vice Chair Stone, and Todd, who was on for something else, participated in a Q&A about the college budget. Tonight will be the public hearing, and then it is scheduled for full approval on July 8th. Ken Cooley continues to write his blog, Politics and Stuff. It's factual, it's to the point, and as I mentioned to Jeff the other day, he's been giving me a heads up that he's sending something out. So I think we've reconnected, and it's not seen as all negatives all the time. It's a fair reporting of the facts, and which is all we can ask for. Yesterday, I sent out a pretty detailed memo to the college community about some fiscal controls, about some additional approvals for any expense over $1,500 and additional approvals for any expense over $5,000. So that went out, and a lot of responses have already been received. So I think the word is getting out that our fiscal house needs a little shoring up, and that message is out there. And then also last Thursday, I attended the county legislature. Every capital project, every contract that's issued has to go through the Economic Development Committee. So I participated in that for some additional work that the county wants to engage a consultant for the Skylight project. SUNY has launched, again, that Stay Near, Go Far campaign. Chancellor Malatras recently announced it, and then from that we've gotten actually 39 leads, 9 applications, and 1 student has been accepted. And then SUNY board meeting was yesterday, and we're expecting some clarification on several matters coming out of that SUNY board meeting from yesterday afternoon. And Madam Chair, that concludes my report. I would like to request an executive session at the end of this meeting to discuss some personnel matters as well as the potential sale of real estate.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the interim president report? Thank you. I know Bill will also provide a written copy to go into our next meeting minutes. Okay, so next, is there any old business? Oh, did I hear someone ask a question? I'm sorry. Okay. Is there any new business? Thank you. May I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
There a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. We're
We're all set. Denise.
Okay. Coming out of executive session, Chair, Trustee Masiello with a note.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. An executive session was held in accordance with Section 105(1) of the Open Meetings Law to discuss the potential sale of a certain parcel of SUNY Erie real property. Formal action to adopt a proposed resolution declaring the subject property no longer useful for community colleges purposes was moved by Trustee Hobler and seconded by Trustee Lenahan, and the resolution was approved by a unanimous vote.
Thank you. I don't know why I'm echoing, but I am. The next meeting of the SUNY Erie Board of Trustees is scheduled for August 26, 2021, in which I will not be able to attend. So, Vice Chair Stone, I would ask if you are able to facilitate that meeting. I would appreciate it. Okay.
And just to add for the record that we also covered in executive session two pieces of litigation, discussion of two pieces of litigation.
Oh. Thank you. Okay, so with that being said, there's no further business. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. You all have a beautiful weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
You as well.